Hey guys, this is your video for Chapter 1, Unit 3, Part B. In this unit, we're going to be talking about least common multiple, but first we're going to start with just common multiples. People always get confused between factors and multiples. So remember, factors are the numbers that can be multiplied to get that number that it is we're looking for. Multiples are what we can take that number and multiply out to get the bigger numbers, right? So if I'm looking for multiples of 8, it's going to be 8, 16, 24, and they're listed over here on the side because you're going to take that number and multiply it by 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Your multiples of 12 are 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, and so on, right? So once you find your multiples of those numbers, then we want to find the common multiples. Which ones do they share? So if you look at the two lists, we can see that they share a 24 here, they share a 48 here, and they also share a 72. Okay, and that will keep going on and on and on forever and ever and ever, won't it? Because these numbers are just going to keep on going, and so will these. So there's an indefinite number of multiples that they're going to share. So am I ever going to ask you to list all of the multiples, the common multiples for two numbers? No, it would be impossible. You'd be here for the rest of your life. So it's going to be limited to maybe the first 3 common multiples or the common multiples for the first 10 factor or multiples like they did here. So again, just keep that in the back of your mind. That you're going to have a limited number of common multiples that you're going to have to list. Okay, let's move along. So here, my directions are list the first 10 multiples of each pair of numbers, then find the common multiples of each pair of numbers from the first 10 multiples. So first, you need to list your multiples for 6 and 12. Well, I know 6, 12, 18, I know 24, I know 30, I know 36, and then I know 42, and then I know 48, and then I know 54, and then I know 60. Okay, and then for 12, I've got 24, and then I've got 36, and then I've got 48, and then I've got 60, and then I've got 72, and I've got 84, and then I've got 96, and 108, and 120. So those are my first 10 multiples for each of the two numbers, 6 and 12. Now let's find which ones they have in common. Well, let's see, they share 12, they share the 24, they share the 36, they share the 48, they share the 60, and obviously that'll keep going on and on. So all of my multiples for 12 are going to also be multiples of 6 because 6 goes into 12, so that makes sense. For 7 and 11, now list them out. So you've got 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, it's about 4, 49, 56, 63, 70, and 77. I think I might have done one extra. For 11, we've got 11. 11s are fun. 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99, and so on, right? So we want to find our common ones. I know that my first common one is going to be 77, and they didn't share one before that. All right. So now let's talk about the least common multiple. I'm never going to ask you again the highest common multiple because it doesn't exist. The multiples keep going on and on forever and ever and ever. So least common multiple is the lowest common multiple, the lowest number that they're going to share that they both will go into. So what is the lowest number that both numbers are going to go into? You guys have already done this. Again, you already know you can list your multiples and you just find the first one they share. a lot of times you can sort of cheat and just multiply your two numbers. That will give you a multiple. It is not always your least common multiple though. But of course, I'm going to show you a different way to do it. And again, prime factorization is a great tool to help you do your least common multiples. It can be a bit of a shortcut. So prime factorization is very helpful. So for example, if we're doing 6 and 9, you're going to do your prime factorization, do your factor tree. So 6 breaks down to 2 and 3, 9 breaks down to 3 and 3. Remember, when we were finding our greatest common factor, we took what they had in common, what they shared, and multiply it. Now they share a 3, so I'm going to count that 3 just one time. With least common multiple, I then multiply that, my greatest common factor, by what else is left. So the 2 was left over, and the 3 was left over. So 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 3 is 18, so my least common multiple would be 18. And let's try a few on the next page just to get the hang of it. So I'm going to do my factor trees for all of these numbers. 3 is prime and 7 is prime, so I can't do a factorization tree for these. So that means that they don't share any prime factors, which means I'm just going to multiply these two numbers. So my least common multiple here is going to be 21. For 5 and 12, 5 is prime, so I can't break that down, but 12 is not. I can break this one down. We'll do 3 times 4 and 2 times 2. So I'm comparing 5 times 3 and 2 and 2. Do they share anything? No, they don't. So I'm just going to multiply all of those together. So I'm going to make this easy on myself, and I'm going to do 4, the 2 times 2, kind of looks like a smiley face, is 4, times 5 is 20. 20 times 3 would be 60. So that's going to be my least common multiple. For 4 and 9, 4 doesn't break down, 9 does. So I'm going to do 3 and 3. Oh, actually 4 does break down. What am I doing? So we've got a 2, a 2, a 3, and a 3. They don't share anything, so I'm going to multiply them all out. So 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 9 would be 36. So that's my least common multiple. I'm going to skip that last example, and I'm going to give you a better example because they didn't give great numbers here. Let's pick a number like, let's do 24, and let's do 16. And let's figure out what my least common multiple would be. So we're going to break down 24. Let's do 8 times 3, 2 times 4, 2 times 2. So I did my prime factorization for 24. And now you're going to do your prime factorization for 16. Okay, what do they share in common? They share a 2 in common. They share another 2 in common. And they share another 2 in common. So my greatest common factor is 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So my greatest common factor is 8. Now you're going to take that 8, your greatest common factor, and multiply it by whatever's left. So we had the 3 left over and a 2 left over. So I'm going to do 8 times 3 times 2. So 8 times 3 is 24. 24 times 2 is 48. So that means my least common multiple is 48. Again, you could have done 24 times 16 to get a multiple, but that would have been a really big number, and 48 is much less than that, right? So 48 is your least common multiple. Again, let's do one more example just to make sure we get it. If you get the hang of it, you can stop, but one more just in case. Let's say, let's do 36. And I don't know, let's try 14. Let's see where we go from there. So 36, I know 6 times 6 is 36. 2 times 3, 2 times 3. These are all my prime factors. And 2 times 7, and they're both prime. So what do they share? They share a 2. So my greatest common factor is 2. Then I'm going to take my greatest common factor and multiply it by everything else that's left. So 3 times 2 times 3 times 7. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36. So I'll do 36 times 7. I don't know what that is. I'm going to come over here and do that on the side. 6 times 7 is 42. That's 21 plus 4 is 25. So my least common multiple then is 252. I hope that helps, and I will see you guys next time.